Hey Yoda! Tinigato, hello and welcome back to another episode of Thaumcraft 4.2 with Birdtross. I am Birdtross, and this is our base in Thaumcraft. Still looking like an absolute pigsty, but things are starting to move along quite nicely. Let's go ahead and enter inside our own mind once again and come down here. Been doing a little bit more mining here on this second level, clearing out the space. Basically, I'm using the dimensions in case you're wondering how I'm measuring out how far I want to go. I'm using this block here, the ones that have these paving stones of travel. I'm putting the arcane ball on there, and then I basically mined out that way as far as it would go, and then I'm just using that as a general basis for how far we're mining out. So, and I'm doing that for these bits eventually, for the one that's over there and over there as well. And with that in mind, I've got the arcane balls in the right spots. So now that area over there is the corner, the supposed corner of the base. But yeah, things are coming along pretty nicely here. Of course, there's not going to be, probably not going to be any building out here at all, to be honest. It's just, this is just to have a nice heap of space underneath the ground. It looks like, yeah, there was a bit of water here, which is why all this cobblestone was here to stop, hey, spider, to stop the water from flooding in and ruining my day. Speaking of guys ruining my day, get out of town. There we go. So the ravines here as well. I've actually had a decent amount of time here to look around at the ravine. Oh, it's a flaming skeleton. But yeah, it looks like it's actually like 3 ravines in one, I think. We've got a ravine over here. Maybe this is a second ravine. Possibly, I think it is. And then there just happens to be this third ravine underneath here, because ravines are not this big. It's kind of cool how that happens, though, that the ravines chain together. So in today's episode, we're going to be doing something pretty awesome. I realized last time that one of the aspects that we started to need a little bit more of, but we still don't have a very easy way of getting, is Tenebrae. So we're always running out of this stuff. And if you take a look in the Thaumonomicon, the only real way to get our hands on Tenebrae, let's head over here, is via mushrooms, basically. It's way at the back, isn't it? No. TTT. There it is. Yeah, pretty much mushrooms is the only thing that it's got. We're going to need it a lot more if we want to build things like Essentia Reservoirs, but particularly for void ingots and doing stuff with the void armors and so on, we're going to need a decent way of getting Tenebrae other than just kind of occasionally... wrong chest, occasionally getting our mushrooms. So what I've got in mind for today is to build ourselves an automated way of doing that using mushrooms. Now, with the trees, right, see, because the mushrooms, when you put a mushroom on the ground, it needs to be on dirt, or I think it'd be on stone actually, but you put it on the ground and then you bone meal it, it'll turn into a giant mushroom, and I've tried it with a chop golem, and the chop golem, which normally lives here, I think I put him away just to stop him working, yeah. The chop golems will not chop down, what is it called? Mushrooms, there we go. So, how are we going to solve this problem then? Well, there's only one other way to automatically break blocks in Thaumcraft, and we've been using it a heck of a lot. It's arcane balls, and I do happen to have a spare arcane ball here. I'm mainly just using it just to tee up where the next one's going to be. I can actually get rid of this one, so yeah, that's going to be something that I'm going to need to get going with right now. Let me just take a quick little break just to get myself situated, and we'll be right back. So I've decided where our mushroom farm is going to be. It's going to be over in this area over here, pretty much opposite this tree farm. So there are a couple of things that we need to clear up from the comment section in the last episode. The Essentia Reservoir. I've had a decent amount of time to just tinker around with it, and I found an interesting little use for it right here in my little setup that I've got over here for generating Potentia. This is where I get my Potentia for my wings. All I do is just bring a couple of files over here, fill up my stack and move right along, and then I'll put some more coal in there to keep these things topped up to save a bit of time, basically. So I've got this right here just to store the Essentia that comes out. It can store 256 of any type. Now, I was originally playing around with the idea of, well, we've got this new reservoir, we can actually use it in our Essentia system over there to go ahead and store, 4 times as much Essentia of each type, and so we would have over 1,000 of each type, which would be particularly handy, at least for those couple of aspects that you use for making runic shielding, right? Because this thing over here requires like hundreds when you get up to the really high levels, like 500 potentia. That's 2 full things of this. But there are a couple of problems with the Essentia Reservoir that have sort of put me off that. First of all, the sound. As you know, I don't really like the sounds of things in Thaumcraft. Well, no. I just don't like noisy things around a base in Thaumcraft. So you can imagine one of these is bad enough. Imagine if you've got, 48 times 4 or 5 of them. Hundreds of these Essentia Reservoirs. I mean, it'd just be constantly going up by your infusion altar. Not something that you want, so we're probably not going to be putting them into sort of regular use. And because you can't get your Essentia back out, when you break it, it doesn't retain the Essentia. That's another real downside as well, because it is really just very handy just to sort of say, okay, I need a bit of potentia, pick up a jar and plonk it back down again. So these reservoirs they're sort of a bit on the edge, aren't they? They're interesting, but they're not particularly useful, because why would you... Basically all they're really for is just a long-term storage of Essentia, isn't it? But then you have other ways of storing Essentia that are even more compact than that. If we go under here to the Alchemy tab, you could use something like the Crystallizer. Now you can just put this into a chest, and this will only take up 1 or 2 blocks in the world. You need the Crystallizer and then the chest itself. And you can store way more Essentia in much less space, just as itemic form, but I'm storing them as jars in here just because you can store even more. You can store 8 times as much in a single space. Anyway, so my take on the Essentia Reservoir, it's sort of, it's a bit out there, isn't it? There's nothing that you can really use it for that would sort of justify making a heap of them or something like that. So that's pretty much where it's going to live for now. And there was also some talk in the comments, I've been told for a second time now, I have been told for a second time by the people in the comments that making a Repair 2 Unbreaking 3 pickaxe, or any tool with Repair 2 and Unbreaking 3, is impossible. It's absolutely impossible to do. It cannot be done. Yeah. So it turns out the problem there was that updated version of Forge. I have downgraded to the 10.13.2 version that I originally started this series with, and that appears to work just fine for making quote-unquote impossible enchantments. Speaking of which, I've actually got a super duper mega flooper here now, and I'm using a new pickaxe in here that I've renamed to Arcane. It's pretty much the exact same thing. Why do I need another pickaxe? Well, that'll be a build for future episodes, but this is pretty much enough space for now. I can come in later and do this. Let's get rid of that. Right, so the magic mirror can probably do a runner as well, and just while that's repairing, let's go ahead and fix up the rest of what we need. We're going to need several golems for this build, just like with the tree farm. We're going to need probably like 2 or 3 used golems. It's been a while since I did golem stuff on camera, so let's go ahead and build these used cores on camera. We're going to need at least 2, possibly 3. So let's see, what was the recipe for this? It's going to be, we'll make 3 empty cores, increase the speed at which the golem's able to click. Okay, that's kind of interesting. So let's get this guy. So that's going to be Lucrum and Wakwas, okay. So just while the Essentia jars are burning up, you guys have probably noticed by now, I completely forgot to mention just during that little thing is, because it's just never happened to me before. Silverwood sapling! Ah, make the screen shake! So we finally have one. I chopped down a silverwood tree in the magical forest off camera, and we managed to find ourselves for the very first time in our world a silverwood sapling, a fantastic block of absolute awesomeness, and I've got a spot sort of cleared out here where I want to build it, although we've got these relays in the way. Hopefully that won't change things too much. Let's go ahead and get a 3x3 actually, is probably a fairly reasonable size just for when it fully grows. Do I have... no, I don't have any dirt on me. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and plant this guy right here to see if we can get a pure node to spawn out of this thing. I'm hoping that we do, because otherwise I'm going to have to go and find another bunch of trees. Is there no dirt in there, really? Oh no, there is a little bit of dirt. Maybe we'll need the grass, we'll see. But yeah, it'd be kind of nice once we get this place turned into a magical forest to sort of make use of the grass to get that nice kind of sort of almost blue look to the grass, which would be kind of cool. But yeah, this is going to affect these relays once it grows up. So there it goes. Well, I haven't even scanned it, have I? Rule number 1. Let's have a look. Right, we've got a tiny hint of magic artboard and edible. Well, what did you expect? But yeah, let's see if we can actually bone meal this thing. Probably not, if I had to guess. No, it's not going to work, so let's get back over here. The second of the used cores is just coming through the infusion now. I've set up the area downstairs where we're going to actually be building the mushroom farm. We'll take a look at that in just a little bit. But now that we've got this used core, I actually also need to get some golems to use it with. And what kind of golems will we use? Well, we've got a bunch of flesh golems lying around. We might as well use those up whenever we can. There's a giant lever on there. There's the second used core. Very nice. Let's head over to where are these flesh golems? I think they're still over here now that I think about it. I haven't moved them yet from this old derelict part of the base that has the way that you walk in. So we'll get 2 of these guys. Very cool. Very fleshy golems. Oh, and the Silverwood tree grew as well, and it doesn't have a node inside it from what I can see, so this thing will be coming down and hopefully we'll get a sapling or possibly even 2 saplings out of the leaves for that, so that'll be cool. But yeah, I've set up a little bit of the area here. We've got our arcane bore right here. Now, here's the thing about mushrooms. I was looking on the Minecraft wiki, and it says that the mushrooms can grow up to 7 blocks in height. So that means that you need to have a width extender. So I've had to make an excavation focus here and dump 24 levels. So I've had to do a bit of leveling off camera here as well to get some enlarge on there. Unfortunately, you can't get enlarge on the first level. And we're just throwing this pickaxe of the core in there as well. We'll just go ahead and get a lower graded pickaxe like a Thaumium pickaxe and get repair 2 Unbreaking 3 on there. We don't need anything quite as epic as a pickaxe of the core for something so menial as mushroom harvesting. Probably going to need a little bit of juice coming from our nodes as well. So let's get a couple of relays so that this thing can repair itself. Let's just get this many. We won't be using all 4 of those, but it's better to have more than you need. They're not enough. So this should be able to reach across here. It goes about 8 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So about there is pretty good. And maybe we'll just do a bit of crossing the streams and make this red. Make that yellow. Will that reach? Yeah, that'll reach just fine. Very nice. So that's cool hooked up now. So let's get these golems down. So we've got a hungry chest right here. The items are just going to come down into this hungry chest. So we'll put a flesh golem on there. Oh, it's got 2 upgrade slots. I did not notice that. That is interesting. So put the used core on there and he is good to go. So let's tell him to... Do you wish me to use this item on a block? On an empty location. Let's make you the mushroom girl. Use the brown mushrooms here. Maybe we'll have one for red mushrooms. I don't know. For whatever reason. So, get our torture rod. Oh, wrong one. Nope. Oh, gotta love this hungry chests. Gotta hate them too. But anyway, let's get you down. Right click. And let's tell you to use your mushroom there. So that works like that. That's okay. Then he will eventually, let's give him the mushrooms now, so he'll take 1 mushroom, and he's going to have a bunch spare, isn't he? Oh, he puts them back, okay, well that helps out. And let's put this guy on this block as well. Now you're inactive at the moment. I'm using a fetter here, hopefully they'll be able to both fit on there, I'm not sure. Get this use core on here. And we want to make you use bone meal, so we will have to come through and stock this place up with bone meal occasionally, but let's select you and tell you to use your bone meal right here. Okay, he takes the bone meal. Yeah, I'm probably going to need to build 2 fetters there. Wow, that did not grow. Is that all the bone meal? I think that was all of the bone meal. I do have a little bit more spare in the chest, so let's go and get that. This was something that I was not anticipating. I thought it was going to grow off 1 bone meal. I think the bones, I've got a decent amount here, so... Yeah, this reminds me of that cool little recipe where you can get 4 bone meal per bone. But anyway, let's get these in there. So if you go in there... There we go, so that does grow up eventually. So now this system will be on like this, right, and it'll harvest out this guy, but it's going to... yeah, so that's exactly what we want to happen. So it doesn't have silk touch. That's a key point here. There's no silk touch because we need the system to be renewable, and it's just a lot easier to not have silk touch on that. Okay, I see. Now you want to try and put the bone meal on there, but the problem that we're having at the moment is that I know that just because the system is a bit laggy in its way, I've tried putting the arcane ball up one block so that it can't actually reach this bottom block. And I was thinking the only other way to sort of move it then would be with a sticky piston. So we have a sticky piston underneath the dirt, but there's a little bit of redstone trickery that would be involved in doing that, wouldn't there? So we got 28 mushrooms out of that, not too bad. But okay, let's for the episode, let's just get this thing up and running just for the episode's sake. Let's hop under here. Kind of blow this out a little bit so that we'll eventually be able to observe this redstone in action. Okay, you're not going to fall. Okay, good. And okay, we're going to need to put that block back for a bit. Do that. Very nice. Now, I guess we'll just... do I have a spare lever? I don't. Cheeky guy. Let's get this watered glass back down. Yeah, so I'm not too sure on how the redstone's going to work for this. It might just need to be just on a clock, to be honest. I'm not sure how I would sort it out. Perhaps some block update detectors, I don't know. Perhaps you guys can help me out with that, because I'm not too sure how I'd do that. So let's get... no, I just want to go with the lever. Lever's pretty basic. Loving the levers. Where's my cobble and sticks? Cobble's in here, I know that much. Starting to fill, that chest is starting to fill back up again, not good. Man. Levers are a really awesome thing to burn down from a Kena, by the way, pro tip. Let's get this back over here. And underneath here, so that should be good now. So let's pump that up. The arcane ball sees the block, breaks it, and then this will go back down. And then the mushroom guy... yes, the mushroom guy does spot that he can put stuff there now. Then the bone meal guy realizes that he can do stuff, I assume. Does he? Or did he try to use it all? No. Oh, I see, he used one, but then he sort of forgot about it. So there we go, that's sort of I'll call that a semi-automatic system. Now what we need to do is sort of have a way to kind of 50-50. Yeah, pretty much, we need at least one mushroom in here at all times, just so that the system is completely renewable, but yeah, we need a way to get the majority of these mushrooms out, so that we can harvest that Tenebrae that's inside of them. But yeah, I haven't really thought that far ahead. As far as the design for this thing goes, I'm going to need to work on that off camera, because we are out of time for this episode, guys. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Thaumcraft 4.2 with Birdtross. We got a cool new addition to the base, a Tenebrae / mushroom area. Don't really know of any decent way to harvest mushrooms in Thaumcraft, other than what I'm doing with this, but yeah, hopefully this will turn out okay. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, kia kaha, and I'll see you in the next episode.